So recently a certain dev decided to add a bunch of high investment talents, all with varying levels of strength. And one of those talents was Grounding Bolt, a high invest thunder talent that applies knockdown on every lightning strikes. Now while that talent by itself is already insanely powerful, it can turn into game breaking territories when paired with other talents, as you can instantly apply true knockdown whenever you want by just pressing a button, which can result in insane true combos, all with legit no counterplay at all. So for today, I have a crazy broken Ironsing build for you guys which abuses these talents. And without wasting any more time, let's get straight into the build. So as you saw in the intro, this build has a disgusting true combo. You can start off just one iron pull. This is because Grounding Bolts, when paired with Golden Age and Fulgurite formation, forces a long knockdown every time you pull someone, and that knockdown lets you confirm almost everything in the game. The best mantra to follow it up with is the Fate Trimmer mantra Close Shave, another tracking gap closer that deals 65 true damage, which is around 15% to most builds. And this combo can get even crazier, as if you play your cards right, you can loop it over and over again, but I will get into what I mean later down in the video. Now you would think that running Grounding Bolt, triple attunements, and an 80 heavy weapon being the Raw Blade would make the stats awful and the build squishy, right? Well, thanks to a bunch of bugs and tricks, you can fit everything in and still keep all the essential attributes to make you tankier, like Intelligence, which gives us ever-changing Aegis, Fortitude, that gives us Exoskeleton and to the finish, and Willpower, which gives us a bunch of HP talents. On top of that, Ironsing also gets access to many talents which all help in making this build even tankier. Now I'll say this now, this build is a bit complicated to progress, so I will have an unlisted progression guide in my Discord, along with the builder link which contains the stats of the build. And with all that information out the way, now I'll cover why I went with the Raw Blade. So as you might have guessed, the weapon I decided to go with was the Raw Blade, a weapon with amazing all-around stats and great criticals that synergize perfectly with Ironsing. And as for my enchant, I went with Chilling, as when paired with Crystallization, it applies a crystal on every single M1, which is needed to set up the build's main combo. I did not mention this, but all you need to do the combo in question is just to have one crystal on your opponent and one rod, which if you ask me isn't the most difficult thing to do, especially when you consider Raw Blade's extremely fast swing speed, which makes it very easy to land hits on. But with that said, I think it's time I quickly go over the outfits I went and also my kit. The outfit I went with is Prophet's Cloak for its free 20% Metro Pen, which is just amazing to have as this build is intended to be a burst damage build. And as for my kit, I went with a full MET kit, as after all the nerfs to other equipment, the MET set is not by far the best for both health and physical, but also the extra posture you get from the set, which is very nice to have. And as for my rings, I went with a Kungus Clutch Ring with 2 posture, a 2 posture Ring of Pestilence, and a 3 HP 3 posture Maestro's Ring, and a 3 HP 3 posture Akira's Ring. I heavily recommend that you also go with a full posture kit, for a very simple reason that you'll understand the moment you see the stats of the build in my Discord server. And with all that said, I think it's time that I now go over the mantras that I chose to go with. The first mantra I went with is Firing Line, a projectile mantra which does great posture damage. I mainly use this mantra as a pressure tool, and I used it right after baiting my opponent's parry. Next up is Oxidizing Rush, a multi-hit mantra that does insane damage and is a great tool to apply rods with. It is one of Ironsing's strongest mantra by far. Then I went with Metal Kick, which with its Spring Spark becomes a very good combo extending mantra. The fourth mantra I went with is Rocket Lance, a staple of Ironsing which serves as a combo extender. It does great damage, and it's a mantra that you just cannot go wrong with. And then I went with Frozen Servants, a mantra I don't use as a source to deal damage, but instead mainly to apply crystals, because it has a completely unreactable windup when modified, and you're pretty much always guaranteed to hit one tick if you use it right after parry. Do make sure that you modify it like I did, otherwise it will not be as good. Next up I went with Metal Armament, an amazing pressure mantra which is incredibly free. You can just pop it without thinking about it, and it can often give you free damage or extend your combos. And as you might have guessed, I then went with Close Shave, a gap closing mantra which, as I said earlier, does insane damage. More on it in the combos and tech segment, so do stay tuned. And as for my mobility mantra, I went with Metal Rampart, a mantra which actually deals damage if it hits your opponent. It also has an incredibly low windup, so this mantra is pretty much free damage and rods if used right after a parry. And then my last mantra is Lightning Stream, a mantra which becomes insanely broken when paired with styling talents and an Insignia gem. That's pretty much it for all the mantras. Do keep in mind that you can always change them up as it is personal preference. However, I do heavily recommend pretty much all of them. Anyways, now I think it's time I cover combos and techs of the build. Alright, so by now it should be pretty clear that if your opponent has a crystal and a rod on them, Iron Pull into Close Shave is true. While that alone is enough to do a bar of damage, there are ways to extend this combo even more. By following it up with M1 Fate into Rocket Lance or Metal Kick, you're able to keep the combo going for even longer. All of this works because of something called Shaky Block, and if you time it right, this should land every single time. This is how it looks like in full speed. And something important to note is that the grinding build talent has a very short cooldown, so you can chain this up again the moment it's off cooldown as long as you apply the crystal and a rod during the combo. Next up, if you have a static link active on your opponent, you can make your lightning stream instant because of static ace. And if you land your lightning stream, then you can follow it up with close shave, which will be instant because of insignia gem on lightning stream. This is a pretty nasty combo I land quite often, which also does a bar of damage. And finally, Metal Wisp applies rods on vents, which means that you're able to set off a true 1-bar combo of just venting as long as you have a crystal on your opponent. Pretty balanced if you ask me. And with all that said about the build, now I think it's time that I show you how it performs in PvP. Alright, we're in Chime on the build. I actually managed to hit top 20 on this build without losing at all. So I mean, it goes without saying that this is like quite possibly the most brain dead build I've like ever played. Alright, hit him with that. Boom. I mean, you can't make it up. And since I had perfect flash, that did like a lot of damage to him, I'll tell you that much. Alright, and now we just have to get a crystal on him because our crystals ran out. Alright, we have a crystal on him now. Hit him with that into rocket lance. Oh my. Let's hit him with firing line. Feint that. Use it again into roblox crit. Oh my. Let me just hit him with that real quick. And he's dead. Yeah, as you guys can see, this build does crazy damage, bro. And like, it's such a fun build as well. It's probably like the most fun build I've ever played, honestly. Alright, next match of the day. Now, I have been queuing a bit more. I haven't lost once, but it's just like, you know, it's not the best footage. So there are some matches that I will just not be showing. But really, I have yet to lose a single time on this build. I mean, I would low-key be a bum if I were to lose on this. But hit him with that. Firing line. Firing line is such a good mantra. Hit him with that. I mean, he just laughed. I mean, if that's not enough to convince you to make this build, then I really don't know what to say. Alright, final match of the day. Alright, we have a crystal on him. Now we just need to... Matter of fact, I'm just gonna vent on him and then hit him with that. Yeah. And all that damage. Because we pressed the G key in our keyboard. Really can't make it up. We're actually gonna be able to do it again. Into close shave. Alright, now this guy's down like 3 bars. Okay, he blocked this time, but we would have landed it. So. Alright. Pull. And he should be dead in like 1m1 now. And he's dead. GG's. I mean, as you guys can see, like this build, it's very balanced. Very balanced. Alright, that's gonna be it for today. This video took me a while to make, so if you guys enjoyed watching it, then consider leaving a like and dropping a comment. It takes just a few seconds to do, and it helps me out way more than you might think. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future uploads. If you have any questions about the build, then ask me in the comments or my Discord server. And with all that said, see ya!
Bye!